In the endless, black ocean of space, past the final whisper of light, there is a solitary wanderer floating in silence. It is not a manned spacecraft or a probe with a round-trip ticket, it is Voyager 2, a veteran but unrelenting messenger that humanity sent out almost half a century ago. Most people believed that once it had passed the edge of our solar system, it would find a role as a quiet voyeur, transmitting feeble signals from the fringes of the emptiness. But something has happened. Voyager 2 has witnessed something it was not meant to witness, something that was not meant to exist or move. For years, the journey of the probe through the interstellar medium had been quiet, only particles, magnetic fields, and cosmic silence. And then the silence was broken. A purposeful, unmistakable movement was seen wafting through the darkness, something moving with intent. When researchers on Earth cracked the code in the bizarre anomalies Voyager 2 sent back, a frightening realization started to settle on the community. What we dreaded in the recesses of our minds may actually be real. Voyager 2 had already traveled past the planets, past Neptune, past Pluto, past the heliopause, the unseen boundary where the sun's influence abates and actual interstellar space starts. Out there it was supposed to wander and observe tiny variation in dust and solar radiation. What it observed was motion that does not occur by accident. Initially, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory noticed what they thought was a spike in the plasma wave readings, a fleeting second-long peak. The instruments, highly sensitive, typically give particle densities or magnetic interactions. This time the signal had an odd signature, it pulsed rhythmically. It wasn't telemetry, it seemed like a pattern, non-random and unnatural. Engineers ruled out interference, cosmic rays, equipment failure, or plain system decay. After all, Voyager 2 is nearly half a century old. But the same signal appeared and became stronger and stronger, and it was evident that this wasn't noise. It was a transmission. Voyager 2 had seen something and captured it. When the data had been cleaned and processed, an object appeared in the results, about 500,000 kilometers from the probe, traveling at a speed incompatible with any known natural body within that area. No asteroid belts, no rogue worlds, no predicted comets should have been present. Whatever it was, however, it was not floating by, it was tracking. Its trajectory paralleled Voyager 2's vector, and its velocity fine-tuned slightly to match the probe's course. Visualize a predator tracking quietly in the trail of prey, finessing its motion just enough to remain within reach without instigating attention. NASA researchers were not the only scientists alarmed by this development. Solo astronomers and military deep space monitors were drawn into the examination and corroborated the results. It wasn't a breakdown. Plasma density measurements, magnetometer outliers, and finicky changes in the probe's gyroscopic data all pointed to a single conclusion: Voyager 2 had a companion, and that companion was not necessarily friendly. Maybe the most frightening discovery came not from what Voyager 2 saw visually but from what it transmitted back. Attached to the telemetry stream was a radio frequency burst of an unexplained digital signal with no source in Voyager's systems. The probe was not coded to transmit this, yet it transmitted it. Decoded, the packet included binary strings that, when graphed visually, yielded build patterns, glyph-shaped forms, and not natural cosmic waves. They were likened by observers to crop circle geometry and ancient human spirals, intersections, and recursive loops. Artificial intelligence linguists and astrophysicists performed contextual tests and discovered the pattern conformed to what would be predicted of an intentional message, not from Voyager but from something else that had hijacked or insinuated itself in the signal stream. Warning or message, the suggestion still stood: Voyager 2 was no solitary traveler in deep space, and whatever it meant may have seen us too. The scientific community divides. To some, it was the proof they had waited so long for, that we're not alone. To others, it sounded like surveillance or, worse, an introduction. In earlier decades, speculation regarding extraterrestrial life primarily focused on exoplanet announcements and faint stellar whispers. This was different, it was near and it was not passive. Shiveringly, the same anomalies had appeared in Voyager 1 months before but written off as static. Old readings were being reevaluated now. Most of us concluded that we must have been blind or condescending, that somebody or something had observed us longer than we allowed, and now they'd made contact. As Voyager 2's systems kept on streaming, a team at the Deep Space Network got an unprocessed series of electromagnetic readings, patterns of frequency fluctuating in hitherto unknown ways. Their initial hypothesis again was interference, but after filtering out and amplifying the waveform, an orderly sequence appeared, pulsating with mathematical exactitude as if man-made. A Fourier analysis of the patterns indicated resonance frequencies mirroring hydrogen's fundamental harmonic frequencies, reversed in a calculated manipulation of the most prevalent element in the universe. The verdict: the signal wasn't noise, it was trying to communicate. Plotting the path of the signal against that of Voyager 2 confirmed a strong correlation. The motion had changed in a direction that mirrored the probe. A dig through archives by an intern uncovered decades-old Voyager 1 telemetry, and when matched with the new data, a disturbing correlation showed up. Decades earlier, in the same area of interstellar space, Voyager 1 had suffered a fleeting anomaly almost exactly like Voyager 2's present event, at the time, dubbed simple static. Using contemporary AI decoding technology to decode those ancient distortions resulted in a waveform that duplicated the present signature nearly exactly. This was not an accident. Something or someone had hung in the nothing and had met up with both Voyager probes. The implication: we had previously been seeing. Accurate modeling demonstrated the motion of the anomaly did not take gravitational curves like a comet or asteroid. Instead, its path curved unnaturally, as if spacetime was being warped to keep it hidden. Simulations could not reproduce its course based on known physics. Worse, the object would accelerate and decelerate at whim, just at the boundary of visibility out of reach of standard optics. NASA researchers called the behavior reactive. It was responding to Voyager's signals. Was it listening, learning, or trying to evade observation? The sober reflection hardened into dread. What if Voyager 2 had not only found this object, but had awakened it? While optically shy, the probe's magnetometer measured a burst of magnetic flux changes, fluctuations so sharp they implied active control of electromagnetic fields. Conspiracy theories flourished, but the anomalies were no internet speculation. One of its own employees had anonymously briefed the press about a leaked JPL report that stated the disruptions in the field resembled torus-shaped energy distortions similar to those on theoretical Alcubierre drives or warp fields. Had Voyager happened upon technology that folded the space fabric? The energy patterns grew stronger, and each pulse and wave screamed one terrifying fact: we are not alone, and we never were. Back on Earth, radio telescopes in South Africa, Australia, and Chile started receiving weak echoes of the same mingled frequency Voyager 2 detected. Buried deep within cosmic background noise, these echoes flashed in precise synchrony with Voyager 2's transmission delays. Scientists called the effect the phantom pulse. Efforts to triangulate a source were inconclusive, but a conclusion was reached nonetheless: the anomaly wasn't localized. Whatever existed out there had managed to cast presence over huge areas of space at the same time. The design was not merely smart, but strategic, meant to be observed only when humanity was prepared. At that time, covert scientific discussion turned from "what is it?" to a more ominous "why now?" Voyager 2 had been adrift for almost half a century, to be forgotten in the vastness of space, but as AI and quantum decoding technology reached maturity on Earth, the anomaly reacted. It was argued that the object was not reacting to Voyager itself, but to humanity's expanding technological capabilities. It had observed, waited, and when mankind acquired the means to interpret its message, it acted. Governments imposed media blackouts, private observatories were quietly closed, and certain AI researchers were redeployed without fanfare. Behind the scenes, the question became louder: did Voyager 2 initiate first contact, or did it rouse something we were not supposed to discover? Ultimately, Voyager 2 was more than a messenger. It was the catalyst for a revelation that shattered our cosmic isolation. The traveling structure, reflected transmissions, and coded frequencies won't happen into neat scientific boxes. Something or someone is waiting, not billions of light years from here, but in the shadows of our own solar system, waiting, watching, and, most ominously, deciding to respond now. Not when Voyager launched and not when it flew by Neptune, but exactly when our species crossed the technological threshold to discern and decipher the signal. The implications are stark. Stay alert, this story is far from over. The next signal could arrive at any moment, and the next discovery might not only change what we know about the universe, it might change who we are.